Alright, I did it. It's done. I finished writing a book. The book is called The Orb, a story that I wrote when I started writing when I was 8 years old. And I finished around when I was 15 or 16. I don't remember, I should have dated it back then, but I just know it was around that time I finished. Like most kids, we create our imaginary friends and imaginary characters, and we create our own stories with these characters. And so with the story of the orb, instead of just making them imaginary characters, why not put it to paper? Back then when I was younger with the book, I would handwrite them in a notebook and pass them along to my small circle of friends. And it was a lot of fun because it allowed for me to create some sort of entertainment for my buddies at the time. Writing this book, or rewriting this book, was something I didn't realize I really needed for myself. From the beginning of this year all the way into August, I would spend every morning and every night writing this book. 800 pages later, I'm done. So why did I end up writing this book in the first place? Back in 2024, around this time of the year actually, I sort of moved out of where I used to live, and I kind of wanted to start things over for myself. Because this is the internet, and this is going to be posted online, I'm not going to share too much, but long story short, there were just things going on in my own personal life that were kind of hard for me to grapple with. It was hard for me to accept and understand, so hence my move. For almost 2 months straight, I cut myself from social media. Some platforms I just outright deactivated my stuff, just to give myself a break, you know? But more so than that, I regret doing this, but even when certain friends tried reaching out to me, I kind of just ghosted everyone. Those 2 months alone felt like time froze. It felt forever. For some time, I was okay with it. And then I couldn't pinpoint when, but at some point, I told myself I had to get out of it. I had to get out of it. I really had to get out of it. So I took the time to look back and remember the moments that I would be excited to do something. And the first thing that came to mind was The Orb. I really enjoyed writing that story. In fact, a lot of the music that I composed was based off of this story. And so, I got to work. As I mentioned before, I was moving into my new place. And when I was moving my stuff, I found the notebooks when I was younger that I would write these stories in. When I began outlining the book and actually getting to the writing part of the book, I realized that there was so much that needed to be trimmed and cut from the original The Orb when I was much younger. There were a lot of unnecessary characters and unnecessary plots that contributed almost nothing to the actual main plot of The Orb. But I guess that was just natural for a young Andrew who just decided to have his imagination go in 7,000 different tangents. So this book follows a very anime-like genre. When I was younger, I was very into anime, and I still am to this day. So if you do end up reading this book, it's going to have elemental abilities, the typical fire, earth, lightning, water, ice, blah, blah, blah. When I got to writing this book, it helped me wake up. I'm not talking just the physical sense of getting out of bed, because I was excited to get out of bed and write the book, but it helped me wake up from within. I do want to take this time to thank every single person that have already been reading the chapters as I was going through them, all the people who have just started, and also to the very few, but soon will be more, hopefully, that have already finished reading the book. I really appreciate every single one of you for all the feedback that I have gotten. It's very helpful to hear what others have to say about the creative work that I do, regardless if the response is harsh or not. Criticism is so helpful for growth, no matter what stage someone is in their creative process. But most importantly, there is one particular person that I want to thank that I need to do a better job at thanking, and that person is me. Without sounding super cheesy, which it's gonna sound cheesy, I did want to just take the time to thank me for not giving up on me, for finding a way to get back up and find my path again. So where can one actually read this book? I'm currently in the editing phase right now, and as I read through the book once, aside from correcting all the spelling and grammar and whatnot, you name it, I see a lot of improvement that needs to be made with the plot. A lot of my beta readers, the people who are reading this book before it goes out to public, are already giving me feedback that I can make to have better changes for the story so that it's a bit more coherent and understandable. But in the meantime, what is Drew going to do? Well, now that this book is over with, I guess I have to resume making online content, right? Share some music, and more importantly, I think I want to write more music for the orb, or technically dig up all of my old stuff and refine all of that and post it on here. So yeah, there you have it. That's it. That's what I've been up to, and just really glad to be sharing with all of you that I finished writing a book. Have a good one.